Hello, happy Wednesday. My name's Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time where we can relax and craft together for about an hour here in the evenings. And I typically work on projects from beginning to end. Right now, we are working on the Splendid Sampler quilt along, and I have 4 blocks finished now, so I can make another quilt as you go block. So this is what we've been doing. I've been making, here's four blocks from the Splendid Sampler 2, and I've been sewing them together with 4 with a little sashing, and then we've been quilting them and then doing the quilt as you go technique. And here is my little guy, my little mini quilt so far. This will eventually have 100 blocks in it, but these parts are done. They are completely quilted, completely finished. Here's the back, all quilted. I'm doing kind of this buttery yellow color on the back. And so I've been doing them in groups of 4. So every time I finish 4 squares, 4 blocks, then we sew them together and get them ready to quilt. So that is the plan tonight. I can't stay too long tonight, so all I'm going to do is sew the sashing in tonight, and we'll call it a day. And then tomorrow is Thursday, so it's New Block Thursday. So we will get 4 new blocks released over at thesplendidsampler.com. We will pick one of those to work on for Thursday and Friday, and then maybe more the next week. We're not going to be able to do all 4 all at once, so we'll pick out of the 4, and that's what we did this week as well. For this week, we did this curves one, and then we finished up 2 blocks that we almost had done yesterday and Monday, so that got us to 4. So let's get going. Let's sew this sashing and see how it goes. So thanks again for joining me, everyone. Okay, so here are the 4 blocks. So I don't have any more done. This is it. This is all I have done. I have 5 unfinished ones still. So those all need work. And then, we'll get 4 new ones tomorrow. And I haven't even started the 3 other ones from this week. So we're going to get them done as we get them done. But I kind of like this arrangement. We set this up yesterday. And we do have to trim the blocks. I think these 3 kind of ended up at the 6.5 inch mark already, but this one we left the edge just to see where we wanted to put it first. When it's possible, like on this one where I had a little bit bigger block behind, like I think this is at 7 inches instead of the 6.5. When it was possible, I left that because when we've been quilting, this, the more we quilt, the more it kind of sucks in on the fabric. Like, all this poofiness, that's fabric poofing up, and that gets rid of fabric around the edge, all the poofiness. And so we're running into issues like here's an edge where I ran out of my block, and now I have this almost 1/4 inch edge here that I'm going to have to cover up somehow before I sew this to another row. So we're going to have to deal with that eventually here, I think. But for now, I'm just leaving it. But so when I can, I am leaving an outer edge here just to help us out a little bit. So since I like this arrangement, I am going to trim these 2 sides because we still need it to end up as the 6.5 inch block. So besides that, I'm going to trim this. We'll measure all these to make sure they're okay and trim anything if we need to. And then we are going to sew in our sashing pieces. So we'll do these 3 pieces together. I'm doing 1 inch sashing pieces, so real itty bitty, but I think it's turning out super cute. And we're doing a cornerstone in the middle too. And what a cornerstone is when instead of having the sashing go all the way across, so it's like all white, we're adding a tiny little, we'll just use this one, a tiny little square in the middle there. And I'm going to cut, I've only cut from 3 fabrics here. I have a bunch of other little fabrics that will pop, and I will we'll cut some more eventually. I just cut these because it was easy. I haven't even counted how many stashing pieces I cut. I just cut a bunch, and if I need more, I'll cut more. But I do want to cut more of these these colors, or like different colored bright fabrics, but we'll do that at a different time. So this is all I need for tonight. And so I'm gonna just set these guys aside, and then we will trim these up first. And I think I'll use my little rotatey cutting mat for that. I like that. Don't even worry about it, those edges. So we'll be able to, Lisa's saying that we'll be able, I think this is what you're referring to, Lisa. We'll be able to like stretch these edges out when we sew it in. That's what I'm hoping for. I mean, all this is solid, it's together. I mean, it's gonna hold together even with like a small little seam. So I think we'll be okay. Yeah, like here the edges aren't, what's showing through isn't as big. We'll see how it goes. But I am really having a ton of fun quilting these. I'm getting a ton of quilting practice, which is really, really what I'm excited about. One of the things that I'm excited about with this quilt as you go. So this one we finished 2 nights ago. And I don't think I really have to do any trimming here. I mean, I could trim all these little fluffy edges away, but I'm going to just leave it. We're going to be okay. I do want to keep these in order. We'll put this guy here. We'll maybe, yeah, I don't think I even need to press these again, really. Okay, that's looking good. Oh, before I trim. Oh, so stretch things. Oh, before I'm not quite sure. Oh, stretch out the fabric before I trim the big piece? Yeah, we can do that. All right, so this is the one that I want to kind of center the pineapple here, and I'm only going to trim these 2 edges. Lisa, I will look that up before we do this. So I'm going to sew the sashing together, but I will look that up. Okay, so let's do the diagonal here, and I'm only going to trim these 2 edges. So let's actually rotate that so I can do that. I think that's pretty centered. Oh, stretch the blocks out? Oh, I'll have to. So just before I sew them together, stretch them out. I don't know anything about that. Okay, so those are these 2 edges. There, now these will match up with our 6.5-inch sides. So just kind of like stretch on the diagonals or something, just to make them a little bit bigger, or not quite sure what you mean. All right, this one's good enough too. Or we can maybe trim this little bit here. I got like a little weird bump out. Let's trim that so it doesn't mess me up when. Oh, like here's where we could kind of stretch it out a little bit. Oh, it happens there all the time that the blocks get a little small. I suppose I could have ironed all these again too, but we're just winging it. We're just gonna get going on it. Yeah, just this little bump out I want to do. Oh, really, Lisa? Okay, I will, can you just write down who it was that does that again? I'll go check it out. Okay, there, that goes in that direction. All right, we have our 4 blocks. These are all ready now. I have another suggestion too, like when we pin this together, I should tape down the backing fabric before I pin it, and I think that's a great idea. I mean, I usually do that for backs of a whole quilt. I don't know why I didn't think about that for these as well, so I'll have to do that next time too. Oh, Laura from Made to Sew. Okay, I will check that out. Laura Made to Sew, stretching out blocks. I will look into that. Okay, so now we're basically just sewing like a normal 9-patch block where we have 3 rows of 3, or just, you know, some of the rows are rows and columns are just a little bit smaller. So we'll do, I just kind of like laying everything out here. Yeah, this is how we had it. There we go. So here's a row of 3, here's another row of 3, and here's the third row of 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these 2 together, then I'll leave it on the machine, then I'll sew these 2 together and leave it on the machine, and then sew these 2 together. So we're basically chain piecing all of these, meaning we're just leaving it on the machine without taking it off. And then once we get that far, I'll take this segment off and sew that block to it, take this segment off, sew this little strip to it, and then take this block off and sew it there. And then at that point we will press, and then after that we will sew the 3 rows to one another. So that is the plan. Let's get to the machine. So I switched back the machine from last night. So last night we worked on this block, and we put some 12 weight, like this gold yellow thread into our machine, and that's what we appliqued around. We just stitched around. It almost looks like embroidery just because the thread is so thick. And oh, am I not going to turn the left at an angle? The top left at an angle, like this? I'm not sure what you mean, Arloa. All right. So I have the pineapple. The pineapple's at an angle, so that should be fine. But all right, let's start with this bottom one here. Okay, so right sides together. I don't really have a right or a wrong side with this white, so I'm gonna just put it on there. Okay, and I don't think I have to worry about any points or anything with this curvy block, so I'm just going to sew with this white piece on top. Oop, and let's start by getting a leader in there. It helps just jumping from there to the block. I think the presser foot likes it a little bit. Ooh, get in there. Okay, and I'm just holding the end and attempting to sew a straight line, which is always a little bit of a challenge. Oh, this is the same machine as last night, Lisa. This is my Sears Kenmore from the 70s. All right, now this little row, right sides together again. We'll sew this tiny 1-inch square to this 1-inch sashing piece. All right, and then our last piece. So this is the piece that we left some edge on. So I got to make sure that when I put the sashing piece on that I'm lining it up with the bottom and letting the top just run off. Yes, I did, Bonnie. I did change the needle back. Arloa, yes, turn it sideways. Which one goes sideways? I thought I had all these right. Oh, the bottom left. That one I rotate. Yeah. But I think I have all these in the right direction. Here's our pretty little pineapple. Okay, so that's the first part of our rows. Oh, you're getting one like this, Lisa. 40 bucks. Yeah, isn't that awesome? Vintage machines, like, I just want to rescue all of them, don't you? Because, I mean, people are just handing them away, you know? And I don't know, I always feel like they're not loved enough. All these old machines that people are just getting rid of them. All right, now I'm going to put this block on. So this block has, in theory, a lot of points that we want to have matching just right. The top left one goes at an angle. I'm going to have to, I do have the book here. I'll have to look at that. But how does it go at an angle? It doesn't just go up like this? I can't really put it at an angle. Okay, so this one we do have to worry about the points. So when I sew, I want to aim, like on the back, I want to aim for all these parts where the seams, like this seam is coming up at an angle and it crosses this seam allowance. I want to aim for all those points. Like here's another one. I want to aim for all those, because what that's going to do is I want to sew so I can sew right here so I have a nice perfect point, kind of like how like these points all come to a nice, you can see, I mean, like right here I didn't sew in far enough, so I've cut the point off a little bit. We don't want to cut the points off. I want to try and get right there when I sew. So we'll do our best, but because of that, I'm going to want to sew with this one on top. So I'm going to rotate it around this way. It's a little bit easier to sew with just this light piece on top, but because I want to aim for all these points, you know what? I'm going to just finger press this one a little bit so it lays flatter. Okay, so then this guy, let's match it up again. I think like so. Put right sides together, and then I can rotate it to where I want it. All right, in theory, I could pin this and stuff too, but we're gonna just get started. All right, now that's in the machine. Now I'm gonna putz with it a little bit. Like I think I could line up this edge a little bit better here. Just get all my tools out here. So I got my little stiletto. I'm going to just fold that down. But here where you can see this crisscross, that's where I'm going to aim. But I want the seam allowance this way. But I'm going to just put my stiletto kind of where that crosses. So I'm going to kind of aim there with my needle. And same here. Here's where it crosses. I'm going to aim for that point right there. And sometimes those areas are pretty bulky, so they're going to want to push out of the way. So you got to kind of wrangle them a little bit. Here's another one where it crosses. And I got one more here, but again, this one is, the seam allowance goes this way, so I'm just going to put my stiletto right where it needs to go. All right, I think I'm through there, and just the stiletto to hold the end in place. Whew, and I think we're good. All right, whew, I just thought I sewed the wrong one to a different block, but I'm okay still. So here, I'm taking this one off the machine. This one, we just need to put the other little white stashing to the other side. Easy enough. Okay, and then, ooh, let's get the last one, a little pineapple guy. All right, so our last, this block goes onto here, and again, there's nothing I really have to match up here, so I'm gonna sew it this way just because I find it a little easier sewing on this blank white strip. But like I said, if there's something to match up, then I like seeing it. Straight line. Let's match up the end a little bit. Oh, this one, the end didn't have to be matched up because we cut this smaller. Oh, did I sew it on right then? I might not have done that right. Oh yeah, because I'm not matching up the pineapple, I'm matching up I did the pineapple part already. I'm matching up the stashing piece. So I'm like, why is this coming out? So they match up because I made that pineapple bigger, but I'm not matching the pineapple. I'm sewing the stashing. So crisis averted. All right, we got our 3 rows here, you guys. Let's trim them up and see what we got, and then we will press them. Okay, this one's actually the top. So there's our sashing piece together. Here's where we went over the edge because we didn't cut the pineapple that small, which is just what we want. Then we got this little dude, like a little rectangle hiding in there. And then, nope, like this. Then this guy was the bottom piece. So let's press these. I'm gonna press them with the seams going in opposite directions, and that will help me line up where all these rows meet. So I'm going to press, I think I'll press these big ones towards the inside, so these seams will go towards the inside. For this one, and then the seams, I'll press the outside. So these ones will go out, these ones will go in, which makes them opposite, and we should be able to sew these together pretty well. And I'm going to use my Wonder Clips, I think, they're hiding somewhere. Here we go. I'm going to use my Wonder Clips just to match up, to hold these seams in place, because this is kind of quite a distance, so I will clip or pin these where these all three meet, where these meet, and then I'll take it off and then do where these meet. And I think that's all I'll need for pins. So, all right, let's do that. I'll do the top and the, oh wait, we gotta press first. Let's do that. So over here to my little wool mat. Got a little ahead of myself there. All right, I'm gonna press these towards the inside. I'm pressing towards the inside on these, the big blocks because, well, I guess, you know, I'm pressing away from the big block just because on some of the blocks there's so much stuff going on here that it's going to want to push the seam in that direction anyway, so we're going to just go with that. There we go. So that's the one side. I always like going on the front too. I don't really want to squish down my pineapple too much, but it'll get squished eventually, so I don't know. We're just going to kind of grow around him a little bit. All right, so that's our first piece. All right, let's do this guy right away. So again, towards the inside. See, it's already automatically wanting to go towards the inside. So we'll just leave it that way. Okay, get this side. Flip her around. I was like hitting it from the front again. Pretty. I like these two together. Ooh, what are we gonna do for quilting this? Like these curves and stuff. This going into here, something, I don't know, something cool's gotta happen there. We could almost, okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself, but I have a quilting idea. We could do like a feather going across these two, and the feather could kind of start and go with the angle of this arch, and it could end like right here in the middle of this. That would be kind of cool. So like a big feather, and then we just go back around the, you know, the feather bits. I kind of like that idea. That might be fun. I've been way into doing these feathers lately for quilting. So I don't know, we'll probably do more. All right, and these ones will go out. Okay, so there are our pieces stretched. And okay, so now we'll take, not stretched, they're pressed. So now I'm gonna put the top and the bottoms right sides together, so we'll just flip that over. And let's see, let's get the Wonder Clips. Okay, so I'm gonna just grab two. And so now what we're doing is I wanna match up this seam to the seams up here. And since we've pressed them in opposite directions, we can nest the seams. And what that means is when the seam is folded, it makes a little like bump right here, the opposite direction of the seam allowance. So this bump, since we pressed them opposite directions, will hit this bump right here. And you can actually feel them. So when the two bumps are right next to each other there, that's when they are nested. And I'm gonna just hold that there make sure that this edge is aligned too. But I'm going to throw a wonder clip right on there. There we go. So that's our first nested seam. I think I might have moved it. Let's try that again. There, that's bumped together. Clip that. And I'm going to just clip the one right next to it too. So these ones are going the opposite direction, but I should still feel them bump together. And that bump, that should give us our seams to match up just right. Okay, so we'll sew that. There we go. And I don't think I need to have a clip anywhere else. Although maybe I will throw a clip on the beginning of this pineapple because we aren't starting. I'm going to start sewing from this side, but that pineapple, remember, we didn't trim. So I'm going to just throw a clip at the start there too, just to keep everything aligned. Ooh, I think I have some clips laying out over here already. There, we'll put one right there. And then the rest we can just keep sewing. So, all right, we'll do this first. And then I will sew this guy on top. You know, Lisa, I rarely, unless someone tells me to, I rarely press open. And it's just, it's debatable what's right and wrong for that. I like pressing opposite directions because I really like butting up those seams. I find that works a lot better for me to line up, you know, not perfect. I don't do that. I don't line up my seams perfectly every time, but it works a whole lot better for me than pressing open and trying to match the seams together. I mean, this does take more planning. Like I have to think, oh, okay, this row the seams are going one way and this row the seams are going the other way. But you get kind of used to that. I think it's kind of magic when the seams match together from doing it in this technique. And whenever there's a little bit of magic in this, I just always find that enjoyable. I did not do extra on my sashing. That would have maybe been smart. But no, I'm doing the sashing. My sashing is 6.5 inches just so it can match up with the blocks easier. All right, this guy's done. Ooh, these are getting messy. We'll have to start new ones or trim them all up. All right, so I'm not gonna press this yet just because I wanna sew the other piece on first, but let's see how we did on matching these seams. So let's open this up. Oh man, one is good, but one is not good. So see, it doesn't work all the time, but this seam is super perfect. So this line continuing into this line, that is exactly matched up. That's what we're going for. This line, not so much, but oh well. Luckily, I have a white background and white sashing, so it's all going to kind of blend together. But yeah, so I think the problem here is that I might have sewn this square too small, like a little too much seam allowance, and this one not enough. So this little sashing ended up being a little bit bigger than this little piece here. But that one right there, that is perfectly lined up. So all right, we'll try and do a little bit better on this next round. Let's see how it goes. All right, back over here. And so now this one, we are going to have to deal with, again, matching up all these seams. Oh, we didn't check. How did we do on that? Ooh, that looks good. So remember we sewed along that edge? That's not too shabby. I can see that point there. This one matches up just about almost. And ooh, we clipped this little corner a little bit. But once you stretch it out, it's not too bad. I think we did pretty good with those. So we're gonna have to deal with that up here as well. This one we don't have to deal with anything, which is great. And this sashing I don't have to deal with anything either, except for matching these seams. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw this on top again. so I can see those little seams when I sew over them. But first, we are going to try and clip those that sashing piece, those seams here again. They should be nested. So there we go. I'm going to bump those edges together, those folds. And we'll clip that. So you're matching a bunch together. We're matching these edges as best we can, and then bumping those folded seams together. All right, this one's going to match up a little bit better, I think. I think these are sewn a little bit more similarly in width. So, all right, there's that. So we got those clipped. All right, I'm going to start here. Now I can align this with the top of the sashing. And then we'll undo these, and then we will aim for all those little crisscrossy points there again. All right. Down to the machine. Okay. Let's line that sashing up. All right. Now I'm going to kind of line up the edge a little bit better and pull things down. Actually, we're going to use the stiletto. That just, it's like an extra hand. Works well. Ooh, this looks like we pressed it open. Let's try and leave that. If the instructions, you know, with the Splendid Sampler 2, and the first Splendid Sampler, I am trying to go by people's directions for the most part. You know, all these blocks are made by different designers, and you kind of pick up on a few of their tips and tricks by trying what they do. And so if a designer recommends doing open seams, then I will typically do them. All right, here's our first nested bump. Let's try and get this one too. I don't know. I feel like I moved some things, but oh well. All right, I'm going to line up this edge again now that with my needle down, now that we're past those landmarks, those bumpy nested seams. All right, so now I got my edge lined up again, and I'm holding the end together, and now I'm going to kind of aim for those crossover points. All right, there's one. This is our next one there. And I'm kind of like stretching this a little bit as I go, or just I'm holding the end so that I end up in the same spot. Like I want my sashing piece to be as big as this, so I'm kind of trying to hold it there so they stretch together and hopefully end up in the same spot. Ooh, that one I don't think I matched up very well. Here's our last one. Okay, let's see how we did. And then we will press this, and I think that's where we will end it for the night. We'll end a little bit early tonight. Got some stuff I need to finish here, but then I will go back. No, the pineapple one is the one I didn't trim, and that's why it's hanging over the edge a little bit there. So it'll hang over the edge there and at the top. So that's the one I didn't trim. I trimmed this edge to make sure that it ended up being in the center. But that's it. So, all right, let's check this out. Ooh, still not perfect. The one, oh, they're both a little bit off there. But again, because we have the white, no one's gonna see that, that we're a little bit off. But let's see how we did on these points. That one looks pretty good. This one looks pretty good. Well, that one is a little off, but that one looks nice. So this one we could have just gone in a little bit further, but I think my sewing looks straight, so I'm sure I just maybe twisted that block a little bit when we made the block, but those other points look pretty good. I'm happy with that. All right, so let's check this out, all sewn together. I want to just press it really quick. I think we'll press the seams towards wherever they kind of feel like they want to go, probably towards the inside again. And then we'll leave it there. Yeah, Lisa, I am really liking the white. So that was one of my challenges. I always have to set parameters for myself with every project. It's just like, I think it's my learning tool for me. With every project, I gotta got to test something new, test the theory really. And I've never done a quilt where I have like all the same color backgrounds, like all white backgrounds. And I know that's a popular thing to do, and I think it just looks so slick, and I've never tried it. And I've also never tried a quilt with all pale colors with not a lot of contrast. I've been using just really bright saturated colors lately, so I wanted to try something different. So every piece that I do, every block that I do has to have a white background. I mean, some are a little weird, so I gotta decide which part's the background, the white part, but I'm using white in all of them and as the background, if there's an obvious choice for background. And then I am using these pale colors. But yeah, that white background is one of my parameters for myself for this quilt, and I'm really liking it so far. I could see doing more white. But here, like every piece that's background-ish. I mean, this I just kind of had to decide what's the background. These are the furthest pieces out, so I left that as the background, and you know, all this white on the outside. And so that's why I think it all blends together with that white. But there we go, another block. So we will add that. We have to put the backing on. So we'll put a backing, we'll have to cut a backing like this and get batting. I think I might have to start Frankensteining my batting together. I don't know if I have any piece big enough, but that's kind of the beauty of this project too, is I can use up batting. I might even try different battings that I have. Like I have some poofy batting and some other types of batting. I might just use up batting for this. This is a use up the stash project. But yeah, so here is the quilt so far, and this guy, once we have him all quilted, we'll attach to the rest, and he'll just go probably right on the end here. We'll add another sashing here, so you know, here's all our little connecting sashings, but we are almost, so we have this guy and one more, and we will have one total row. We're gonna have 5 of these kind of groups of 4 together because we want to make a quilt that's 10 by 10 when we're done. But yeah, it's coming along, and I just love this buttery background color. This one looks really fun. I've been really having fun with all the feathers, so lots of feathers. This is our first one. I was just playing around too. Swirls, we should do some more of those ribbons. I'm having fun with those. But yay, another block done. So we won't get this all sandwiched and stuff tonight. I'm gonna stop for tonight. So we won't be quite ready to quilt. And then tomorrow we'll get the new block. So we'll just set this aside for a little bit. But 4 blocks are together. That's a big step. All right, guys, I'm gonna flip you around and we'll call it an evening. Oh, Tammy, no problem. Thank you so much for coming. All right, ooh, my camera's getting crazy here. All right, we'll just go right there. Yeah, I'm really liking, I think this yellow just is perfect for the back. I actually ran out of it, and I thought I had a whole bolt of it, but I didn't. I just thought it looked so pretty. Like if you're on a bed and you're folding it over, I think it just looks so pretty with these yellows on the front. And you know, it really shows all the quilting too, which is great. That's what I wanted to try and do with this project, just practice quilting. So yeah, loving the yellow. I had to get the rest for my mom. She had a bolt or a little bit of a bolt left over. So I think after this quilt, we both might be out of this pretty color, and we'll have to go get some more because apparently we use it a lot if we've gone through several bolts of it. That's kind of crazy. It's perfect. It's a perfect color for the back of baby quilts, and that's why we've gone through so many of them. But awesome, guys. Oh, here's the block. If you wanted to see, these are the 4 together. I think they look awfully cute. I like it. It's always fun to see everything one more step on its way. But awesome, you guys. I will get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies when we're done here. That'll just take like a half hour or so. And it will also stay here on Penguin and Fish on Facebook. So thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow for New Block Thursday. See you later, guys. Good night.